Today we tell a story about the Lawson Family Murders. The Lawson family lived in a small town in Germanton, North Carolina. Charlie Lawson, the father, was a tobacco farmer. Charlie Lawson grew up in a sharecropping family. He eventually saved enough money to buy a 200-year-old farmhouse close to his brother's home. The Lawson had a large family. Charlie and Fanny Lawson had 7 children. There was a hidden agenda behind Charlie wanting the family to take a photo. It became uncertain if this was a clear sign of Charlie about to kill his family. This became a mystery several decades later, and only Charlie Lawson knew the answer. December 29, 1929, the day of the murder, two of the Lawson's daughters, Carrie and Mabel, was sent by Charlie to visit their aunt and uncle. As Carrie and Mabel was passing by the family barn, Charlie shot his daughters to ensure they were dead. He then flipped the gun over and beat them with the butt of the weapon. He placed their bodies inside the barn. The Lawson younger sons, James and Raymond, tried to hide from Charlie, but he found them and killed them. After killing his family, Charlie repositioned the bodies of the family members. He put stones under their heads and crossed the family members' arms as if they were in a casket. The Lawsons' oldest son, Arthur Lawson, wasn't at the house the day of the murder. It was said that Charlie Lawson sent his 16-year-old son Arthur and his nephew into town to buy shotgun shells because Arthur reportedly thought he and his father were hunting rabbits that afternoon, a typical family tradition. Arthur Lawson returned to the house to find his mother and siblings dead. Charlie Lawson was nowhere in sight. Family and friends rushed to the crime scene as Charlie ran into the woods behind the Lawson farm to hide. The police arrived at the scene and began investigating the crime. Shortly after the police arrived, a loud shot was heard in the woods. Charlie took his own life, shooting himself in his heart. His body was found next to a tree, along with a circle of footprints. He had 2 notes in his pockets that appeared to have been uncompleted. One of the notes said, "Nobody to blame but," and the other note said, "Troubles can cause." 2 days after the murders, the family's bodies were embalmed at TB Knight Funeral Home. The Lawson family, including Father Charlie, were buried in a mass grave at the Barter Cemetery. Shortly after the family's death, several theories began circulating about the family members. Questions were raised about the only surviving family member, Arthur Lawson, and why he was spared that day. One theory was that Charlie purposely sent Arthur into town on the day of the murders to spare him, or he just forgot to count him. Another theory was that Arthur was sent to run errands that day because he would have protected his family and stopped his father from committing the crimes. Arthur was bigger and taller than his father. There were rumors after the crimes that Charlie Lawson had sustained a head injury a few months before the murder, and this was likely the reason why he committed the crimes. John Hopkins studied Charlie Lawson's brain. There were no sign of any physical damage to his brain. This theory was debunked. However, several decades later, some still felt this could have been possible. Several rumors also allege that Charlie sexually abused his oldest daughter, Marie Lawson, and impregnated her. He killed the whole family to keep his secret from being revealed. Several family members and friends allegedly came forward, confirming that Charlie did impregnate his daughter Marie. An interview was conducted during the 90s with one of Marie Lawson's best friends, who was in a nursing home at the time and whose name was not revealed. She stated that Marie Lawson told her that she was pregnant 2 weeks before the murders took place. There hasn't been enough evidence to support this theory. With several theories being thrown around, no one will never know the reason why this horrendous crime happened. Arthur Lawson was the only surviving family member. Several stories have changed over the decades about what happened that deadly Christmas Day. After the murders, Arthur Lawson was left alone, and his uncle Marion, Charlie Lawson's brother, was concerned about Arthur and his survival. Marion was afraid Arthur would not be able to survive without his father's money. The family's murder caught a lot of attention throughout North Carolina. Charlie Lawson's brother Marion took the house and turned it into a tourist destination. He charged tourists to tour the home. The public wanted several artifacts and relics from the Lawson family home, desperate to keep a piece of it. A Christmas cake Franny Lawson baked on the day of the murder was displayed. People visiting the home tried to pick the cake and take raisins off of the cake as a souvenir. The cake had to be put in a case to stop tourists from taking bites of it. Arthur's uncle Marion helped Arthur set up tours of the home. Guests were charged 25 cents to visit the house and see the areas where the Lawsons' bodies once laid. Arthur and his uncle Marion visited local fairs and showed the Lawsons' family life to the public. The proceeds from the tourist attraction were given to Arthur Lawson since he was the remaining family member. Arthur Lawson later went on to get married, and some reports stated that he had 2 to 4 children. He later died in a car accident at the age of 35, approximately 15 years after his family was brutally murdered. The Lawson murders have continued to become popular. The family's gruesome murders have inspired several songs and shows. Author Trudy J. Smith wrote 2 books about the Lawson murders, White Christmas, Bloody Christmas, and The Meaning of Our Tears. Smith became one of the first people to put forth the theory about Mary Lawson being pregnant by her father, Charlie Lawson, making it one of the alleged reasons why Charlie committed the crime. Trudy J. Smith interviewed several family members, friends, and witnesses in the early 1990s. Some hinted at an alleged inappropriate relationship between Charlie Lawson and his daughter Marie. Walter Kidd Smith, a singer and songwriter, wrote a song called The Murder of the Lawson Family. This song was created several months after the murders of the family, and he performed the song frequently at the Lawson family home. The song, The Murder of the Lawson Family, became one of the best-selling records from the 1930s. The former funeral home, T.B. Knight's Funeral Home, now called Madison Dry Goods and Country Store, has a free museum dedicated to the family and what happened at Christmas Day. The museum houses several pictures and artifacts, including a picture of Charlie Lawson inside his casket. Over the years, several guests have claimed that they saw some of the family members' spirits inside the building. A little girl dressed in white became one of the most common sightings. The child is said to show herself to other children. Several objects have been told to move on their own. The former funeral home where the family was embalmed was showcased on a 2022 Netflix series, 28 Days Haunted. In the series, psychic Brandy Marie Miller and demologist Jerome Leonard spent approximately 28 days living in the museum. The series shows the pair hearing voices and experimenting unstable electricity, which points to active spirits. The Lawson family murders happened nearly 95 years ago, but the ghostly stories have become several shows, songs, and artifacts over decades. Even in death, the family hasn't been able to find peace. At the time of death, Marie was 17, Charlie was 43, Franny was 37, Mary Lou was 3 months, James was 4, Mabel was 7, Raymond was 2, and Carrie was 12. Rest in peace to the Lawson family. Their lives matter. And if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Until next time.